Okay, the next question is how ZycoTherm technology is eco-friendly. What does it do to the environment? So the first question which we need to answer is, what is the energy saving per ton of mix produced? What my experience tells me that on an average, if you have to prepare 1 ton of a hot mix, let's say at 155 to 165 degrees centigrade or 300 to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, you will realize that you need somewhere around 6 to 8 kgs of furnace oil or equivalent amount of diesel oil or recycled motor oil, whatever you are burning, or equivalent of natural gas, if that is the one what is used. Most of the warm mixes, as commercially practiced, tend to reduce the mixing temperature by 20 degrees centigrade. So you would come from 165 to 145 or to 135, and that's a typical range of drop in temperature which is seen. Based on the experience in United States and then the calculation, you will realize that if you look at the specific heat of the bitumen and the stone, where you can actually reduce the energy input, you will realize that almost 1 kg or 15%, 12 to 15% of the fuel can be now saved because you are actually trying to attain lower temperatures. So this is the kind of a number which one can go through in terms of the fuel saving per ton of mix in terms of energy. The next question would be that what really happens in terms of the emissions. Now there is an experience which we have gained in many parts of the world, and we have actually done some lab studies. When we reduce the temperature by 20 degrees centigrade, the interesting thing which happens is every bitumen which is used for preparation of mixes has certain amount of volatiles, and you will realize that these can get captured by what we call as the RTFOT test, that means rotating sort of a bitumen test, which captures that how much volatiles can go off. When we subjected bitumen at the mix temperature and 20 degrees below that temperature to the RTFOT test, we realized that there was a reduction in the vapor loss by almost 93%. Now what that tells you is that when you will reduce the temperature by 20 degrees centigrade, your emissions, your vapor generation at the paver machine are likely to go down by 93%. The same thing would happen in terms of the total emissions, whether it is in the production plant, whether it is at the paver machine, your total emissions has gone down by 93%. So people who are working in the plant, people who are working on the paver machine are likely to be exposed at least a substantial reduction in the vapor inhalation, and this is very, very important to reduce the future risk of cancer or malignancy to those who are working with the hot mixes. And this is also goes well with the Paris Accord, where most of the countries have promised the healthcare organizations, particularly the UN, saying that let us keep the bitumen out of the ambit. We as an industry, we would head towards the warm mix as a technology, and that will reduce this 93% emissions down. So this is the general context of the emission. And the third would be that can it help us in reducing the material cost? And generally it has been our experience that Eco-friendly technology means more recyclability, and more recyclability means more use of wrap. And what typically we have seen is we can use more wrap when ZycoTherm is used and allow the mixes to become more eco-friendly compared to what they are today.